The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Nothing is more despicable than respect based on fear. Blessed are the hearts that can bend, they shall never be broken. You cannot create experience. You must undergo it. There is no love of life without despair of life. Real generosity toward the future lies in giving all to the present. The only real progress lies in learning to be wrong all alone. Alas, after a certain age every man is responsible for his face. At any street corner the feeling of absurdity can strike any man in the face. Autumn is a second spring when every leaf is a flower. To be happy we must not be too concerned with others. The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. The need to be right is the sign of a vulgar mind. Charm is a way of getting the answer yes without asking a clear question. A man without ethics is a wild beast loosed upon this world. In the depth of winter I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer. A guilty conscience needs to confess. A work of art is a confession. Man is the only creature that refuses to be what he is. Every act of rebellion expresses a nostalgia for innocence and an appeal to the essence of being. He who despairs of the human condition is a coward, but he who has hope for it is a fool. Integrity has no need of rules. Freedom is nothing but a chance to be better. To know oneself, one should assert oneself. Nobody realizes that some people expend tremendous energy merely to be normal. Men must live and create. Live to the point of tears. Those who lack the courage will always find a philosophy to justify it. We continue to shape our personality all our life. If we knew ourselves perfectly, we should die. I know of only one duty, and that is to love. No cause justifies the deaths of innocent people. The absurd is the essential concept and the first truth. Friendship often ends in love, but love and friendship never. I should like to be able to love my country and still love justice. It is not your paintings I like, it is your painting. There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide. It is a kind of spiritual snobbery that makes people think they can be happy without money. Don't wait for the last judgment, it takes place every day. By definition, a government has no conscience. Sometimes it has a policy, but nothing more. An intellectual is someone whose mind watches itself. Men are convinced of your arguments, your sincerity, and the seriousness of your efforts only by your death. Judging whether life is or is not worth living amounts to answering the fundamental question of philosophy. Violence is both unavoidable and unjustifiable. I draw from the absurd three consequences: my revolt, my liberty, my passion. In order to exist just once in the world, it is necessary never again to exist. We are all special cases. There is no fate that cannot be surmounted by scorn. As a remedy to life and society, I would suggest the big city. Nowadays, it is the only desert within our means. Those who write clearly have readers, those who write obscurely have commentators. Real nobility is based on scorn, courage, and profound indifference. When you have really exhausted an experience, you always reverence and love it. To govern means to pillage, as everyone knows. Culture, the cry of men in face of their destiny. One leader, one people, signifies one master and millions of slaves. To be famous, in fact, one has only to kill one's landlady. How can sincerity be a condition of friendship? A taste for truth at any cost is a passion which spares nothing. You have to be very rich or very poor to live without a trade. To ensure the adoration of a theorem for any length of time, faith is not enough, a police force is needed as well. In order to understand the world, one has to turn away from it on occasion. All that I know most surely about morality and obligations I owe to football. Too many have dispensed with generosity in order to practice charity. Why should it be essential to love rarely in order to love much? It is normal to give away a little of one's life in order not to lose it all. I have never been able to renounce the light, the pleasure of being, and the freedom in which I grew up. I am not made for politics because I am incapable of wanting or accepting the death of the adversary. Every great work makes the human face more admirable and richer, and that is its whole secret. Retaliation is related to nature and instinct, not to law. Law, by definition, cannot obey the same rules as nature. Stupidity has a knack of getting its way. A taste for truth at any cost is a passion which spares nothing. We turn toward God only to obtain the impossible. What is a rebel? A man who says no, but whose refusal does not imply a renunciation. To abandon oneself to principles is really to die, and to die for an impossible love, which is the contrary of love. The role of the intellectual cannot be to excuse the violence of one side and condemn that of the other. Every revolutionary ends up either by becoming an oppressor or a heretic. Your successes and happiness are forgiven you only if you generously consent to share them. Heroism is accessible. Happiness is more difficult. The absurd depends as much on man as on the world. For the moment, it is all that links them together. Only a philosophy of eternity, in the world today, could justify nonviolence. Martyrs, my friend, have to choose between being forgotten, mocked, or used. As for being understood, never. Conscious of not being able to separate myself from my time, I have decided to become part of it. All modern revolutions have ended in a reinforcement of the power of the state. Man is an idea, and a precious small idea once he turns his back on love. The real passion of the 20th century is servitude. We rarely confide in those who are better than we are. Every man, and for stronger reasons, every artist, wants to be recognized. So do I. Every time somebody speaks of my honesty, there is someone who quivers inside me. The society based on production is only productive, not creative. The day when I am no more than a writer, I shall cease to be a writer. Man wants to live, but it is useless to hope that this desire will dictate all his actions. We call first truths those we discover after all the others. How hard, how bitter it is to become a man. Rebellion cannot exist without the feeling that somewhere, in some way, you are justified.